Do you ever feel lonely? Do you ever feel that even though you're surrounded by people, maybe you have so many people around you, but you still feel lonely and you still don't feel that you have proper friends or proper connections? This is actually a problem that's more recent in society, and it's actually increased since the coronavirus. From what I've read, that since maybe 1979, apparently, I mean, they've done studies, they found that people are feeling more lonely and they have less friendships in general, and less, even when they people who do have close friendships, they have less closeness in their friendships. They don't feel that they can confide properly in people, and this often goes, they've traced it back to the use of these WhatsApp and Facebook and so forth. We think that we're improving our relationships with these ways of connecting with people, but we've actually made our relationships more shallow. Um, we think we have many friends on the Facebook, on WhatsApp, and so forth, but maybe if you look down the list of the at the people who are your friends on Facebook and on various places in social media, do you have someone that you can really confide in, that you can really trust, or you really call is your true friend, who will really be there for you? I think most people will answer that they don't have. And in general, most people, I mean, even when I speak to people, they say they don't have a close friend. Some people even say they don't have friends. Yet you'll see the people, these people, they're going out with people, they're going to places with people. They seem to be getting along with people. They're laughing and joking with them. But if you ask them, they'll say they don't have a real friend. They don't take a friend. Um, and a lot of people nowadays have problems with trusting. And I think there's different reasons for this lack of friendship. One of them is lack of trust, because nowadays, let's be honest, many people, they're not paying attention to some things in religion or in morality in general. Maybe you can't, it's hard to trust someone to know that they're not going to tell your secrets, for example, or they're not going to talk about you from behind. People have these fears. And because nowadays as well, friendship has become kind of cheap. I mean, for example, on Facebook or WhatsApp and so forth, you can just block someone. They said something you did not like, it annoyed you, you can block them. People are afraid to put their energy and time into relationships that they feel are not going to work. I mean, when I try to understand why we are feeling this loneliness, why we don't feel this connection, when I ask people, often they'll say that they're afraid that the relationship is not going to last, because they see a lot of relationships don't last. They see that people they travel and they just forget about people. They block people on WhatsApp. They block people on Facebook. They, maybe they decide to change their life, or they'll just start to go out with other people and they'll just forget about their old friends. But these are mistakes as well, because actually to have a proper friendship, to have a real true friendship, it has to go through time, and this will give it depth and will give you more true friendship. The more experiences you have with someone, the more you confide in them, the more you go through with them through the good and the bad, the more you develop a real friendship, a real relationship. I mean, if you just start a relationship with someone and you just got to know them, obviously it's going to be very shallow and superficial, because in the beginning people are not going to tell. Normally people don't tell their deep feelings and deep secrets, or have a lot of memories about how they were with someone in the beginning. Friendships and everything take time, and true friendships, they are the ones that last throughout the time. But when we go through the good and the bad times together, we can say we have true friendships. And the mistake that people make is trying to end them too soon. And studies have shown that people, when they're feeling lonely, the best thing is actually to try and go back to your old friends, to find the contacts that you've lost touch with and to get in touch with them, to resurrect these old relationships, because they're the ones you have memories with, and keeping in touch with your old friends and old connections is deeper and more beneficial than just making new ones all the time. Because new relationships, maybe we might get to know good people, and I'm not saying don't get to know anyone new, but they are more superficial, and obviously you take time to get to know someone. Why are we closest to our families? Because they've been there from the very beginning. I mean, most people, they can't, they don't, um, you can't disconnect from your family, for example, because they've been there from the beginning, and you are a part of them. And the same way, when we have friendships and relationships, we become part of their life, and they become part of our life. And they they become deeper and stronger with the more experiences that we go through together. The problem is that I think as well, we don't actually value that much friendships. We just see them as wasting time, or some people, they see them as wasting time, or they see people as burdening them, when because the traditional idea of friendship is someone who's there for you in the good and bad times. So some people don't want to be there for someone in the good and bad times. They say they don't have time, and maybe um, they don't want to put this effort in because they're thinking negatively that the relationship might not work out as well. So this is why we don't have the proper friendships that people seem to have before. I mean, when we read the stories in the past, we read about people really putting themselves out and putting a lot of effort into their friendships. And I mean, often when I read the story, I mean, about Prophet Muhammad, peace be on him, and his relationship with Abu Bakr, who was his close companion, I wonder why we can't find these kind of friends nowadays. I mean, when you look at the relationship with Abu Bakr and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you can really see the true kind of friendship and the love that was there. Because nowadays people, they put all their idea of love as in a romantic relationship. Love is between a man and a woman, um, in marriage or in a romantic relationship, and we forget that love actually is supposed to be for our families and also our friends. We should have love for our friends as well. Our relationship should be built on this love, and we should be feeling that too. And when I read the story of Abu Bakr, often I, radiallahu anhu, often I get surprised that how much he did for his friendship. I mean, when he was when he traveled with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when they made the hijrah, when they immigrated from Mecca to Medina, he put so much effort into trying to protect Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a friend and as his follower as well. And even when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to sleep, he was tired, he left him to sleep on his leg. And a scorpion came to, I don't know if it was a scorpion or a snake. There was some sort of insect that wanted to bite him, but he did not want to move the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ from his lap. So he just stayed still and tolerated the pain of this thing moving around, just to make sure that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was okay and he slept alright. And you know, I think most people nowadays, they're not going to put themselves out to this extent. They'll say, they'll just wake up their friend and tell them to move because they have to go from, because of there's a spider or something. And he once was beaten for being a follower and believer in Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. When he was carried to his home, when he came around, because he passed out because people were beating him, the polytheists were beating him because he was believing in Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. When he came around, he just asked straight away, "How is the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ? Where is he?" He was worried about him. He did not see it as you know, like, why did he have to take this beating for this person or something like this. So I think we've lost the real meaning of true friendship. Now when you speak to many people, they're missing this true friendship, and they find that, I think all of us, we find that relationships, they're kind of shallow. And nowadays most people, they're looking for something for themselves. They're not looking how they can be a good friend. I mean, do we really think about ourselves, how we can be good friends? Because if we think how we can be good friends, for example, if I think, how can I be a good friend to this person? What can I do for them? I might start something good in this friendship. I might give an example to this person of how to behave. And even if not, I will make them happy. The important thing is that I am a good friend. That means that I will be known as a good friend, you know, by myself, you know, and Allah will know me as a good friend. But if everyone is just looking for themselves, that they want to find this person that they can trust, they want to find this person who they can confide in. If all of us are thinking about, we want to find this person, but none of us are that person, how are we going to find them? I don't think that you can find someone if all of us refuse to be that person. We have to look at ourselves. Who are we first? Are we that person? Do we deserve this person? And can we be that person for somebody else? Because if we are looking for that, maybe somebody else is looking for that too. If we are looking for better connections with people, or better friendships, then it means that other people are probably looking for the same connections and better friendships. So if we turn our attention to what we can do and how we can be this friend, then I think it's going to really help. And also, we need to improve our communication skills with people as well. Having good conversations and being able to confide in people, that takes some effort from ourselves, to tell people what we really want and what we really think, because some people just don't know. And this is another problem as well. I mean, sometimes we may be shy, we may be not confident in ourselves, or we may just not explain ourselves. So other people just don't know what we want and what we think and how to be with us. Maybe they think that we want to be alone, and actually we want them to call us. But how can they know if we don't say? And this is the problem of lack of communication, that it brings misunderstandings. When we don't tell people that we want them to talk to us, they might think that we are shy or we don't want to talk to them. And if, you know, maybe we want someone to help us, but someone else, maybe they're shy to ask, do you need help? sometimes we have to make some effort to make these relationships. And in general, any relationship, whether it's a friendship or marriage or so forth, it takes work. And this is something that, I only really know from reading about, because it's not something that we're generally told or taught. We just kind of take friendships and relationships for granted, and we don't really think that they need that much work. We just think that they're just there, and they will just kind of work out. And if it didn't work out, that means it's not meant to be. Just Allah did not want it. Many of us will say, oh, or even we make an excuse. This person was not a good friend, or they didn't value the friendship. But what effort have we put into this friendship as well? I mean, I'm not saying that sometimes we have to just have one-sided friendship, but we have to start somewhere and put effort into our friendships and try and to maintain them as much as possible, and to try and keep misunderstandings from happening by good communication and by explaining to ourselves. I mean, for example, we get upset sometimes, maybe we fall out with people, but if we tell them that this thing we did not like, or it made us upset, or they hurt us in some way, they can know and not do it again in another time. If we just block them on WhatsApp or Facebook or so forth, how would they know? So this is one of the reasons why maybe we feel lonely. And another reason is maybe just we are being too much of ourselves, and that's not a bad thing to be ourselves. I like to really be myself. But sometimes when we are different from other people, we'll find it difficult to connect and really relate to people. If we're not doing what other people are doing, and we're not thinking the way that other people are thinking, and we're just not agreeing with people, in the end we might feel lonely. So in these kind of situations, maybe sometimes we just need to be a bit more flexible. Maybe sometimes we just have to sit with people and do something, and just to get on with people, do some things a little bit different to what we normally do, to make a better connection. And maybe we can influence people to do our things, or maybe even we can make compromises sometimes, that okay, we'll sit together, but we will, I will eat what I want to eat and you can eat what you want to eat. Or we can make an agreement that we'll do this and that. But somehow we have to find some common ground or agreement, because if we just do everything that we want to do and we don't think about other people, in the end we're just going to be lonely, because not everything works just for us. I mean, the whole way that marriages and relationships work is that two people have to come to agreements on things, and maybe they don't always want to do these things. But if you live in a society, if you are in a family, if you are in any relationship, just sometimes we have to make these kind of compromises and maybe do things just to make somebody else happy for a change. And this is something from friendships that I don't see nowadays as well. That, I used to hear that a friend is, they will be there for you when you need them. That, when you need someone to go with you to the shop, even, they're there. When you need someone to sit with you, your friend will be there. When you need to talk to someone, your friend will come. But you'll find nowadays that many people will just make many excuses, that they are busy, they don't have time, it's a waste of time, they don't want to, or find somebody else. Or so we don't have this kind of givingness and giving up of our time, giving up of giving from ourselves or giving from our time or putting somebody else first, trying to make somebody else happy. If we did these things, I think we could ease our loneliness a lot. We just have to make some sort of compromise and sometimes put somebody else before us. Have some empathy and just feel what would make this person happy. How can I make this person happy? And be the good friend. Then you will find maybe the good friends will come as well.